Will you send me the location?
And I'll be right there. Don't do it all patient. No time, no.
And my dog's in location.
For another 5 years. That's literally the only part I know.
Yeah, same.
This
Could.
And
terribly episode 18.
I think so. We're now legal.
Yeah, we are
Legit.
we are.
Yes.
Man like Abs. That's me. Man like Johnny.
Hello.
Man like Tommy.
hello.
Very special today because it's the first time we're recording with strangers amongst us.
Come on. Live show on that.
Strangers, fairly inaccurate.
Strangers is a harsh term for
It
people we've known
ranges from people I've met 5 minutes ago to people I've known for fucking hell.
for years and years.
Don't age yourself.
Well over a decade, 15 years.
Don't age yourself like that.
No, fuck it. I embrace my age. Just don't ask me what it is.
Black don't crack.
You haven't really got a choice after this long, have you?
My name's Johnny and I'm not 30 yet.
That's what's up.
All right, cool.
Don't get ID'd though.
Welcome.
Wallah, as my witness, I got ID'd buying
No
rum
one
in
believes
Sainsbury's
it.
today.
No one believes
I got
it.
ID'd
Oh,
today.
yeah?
I got
Oh,
ID'd
yeah?
today buying rum. I was like, bruv, that's a compliment. No one's ID'd me for 5 years. He was like, yeah, it's probably because you're wearing a mask. I was like, Waleed, you're a dickhead, fam. Proper made and broke my day.
Do this.
Welcome to Wembley.
Cover your face.
Yeah, you do look young, to be honest, with half of your face gone.
I blame the Harry Potter glasses.
Oh boy.
They are Harry Potter
That's
glasses.
what I just noticed when he put the mask look on.
Yeah, it's actually my USP. It's worked for years. I've worn the same style since I was 18.
Worked in what sense?
Yes, loosely using that term.
What does that mean?
Yes. How are you,
Worked.
Rich?
I'm wonderful. It's Friday. We're in fuck knows where.
It's
Tommy.
Friday.
But we're on tour.
Yeah.
We're on tour.
We are on tour.
Where are we?
Well, I'm at home, so
Yeah.
No, but where are we?
comfortable.
Yes.
Very comfortable. We are in the well. If it's a Venn diagram, we're in between like Hanger Lane and Alperton.
Long, bruv. Far
Welcome
ends.
to the ends, yeah.
Far ends, bruv. West London and that. The wild,
Trappy.
wild west.
Episode 16, you were like, oh, I live around the corner from that nice little pub with all the flowers on it.
AJ Tracy's my boy.
AJ Tracy. And now,
Live and direct.
I thought this pod was like a global thing. I thought we just kept it moving.
Yeah,
there are multiple,
we keep it moving
multiple
from West London.
locations.
this is more local, though.
This is very local.
I don't, when people say global, I'm not sure
Not
this
local
is what they think about.
Not local
Piccadilly
to
line
you.
and that.
Local to you.
That's
How
right,
are
that's
you,
right,
man?
That's right. I'm very well.
Shit.
How are you,
Very
Tommy?
good. Very good. Very good.
What's been
Another
going on?
fortnight has passed. It's been good. Like I guess for me, with the lockdowns now coming to an end, it's been good. Just to, I kept lockdown pretty strict, so
Touchy
it's been
subject.
good to meet people now. What's touchy?
I'm positive vibes today. We're not talking about
okay.
it. Johnny, how are you?
I'm all right, man. I'm quite relieved. Today I heard some good news that I'm no longer the only person banned from Facebook for violent hate speech because Donald Trump has also been banned. So I now have a friend who's...
Has he been banned for good?
2 years.
Oh, that's strong.
2 years. So now he and I can just communicate directly
Wait, what?
as moral equals.
What happened?
Donald Trump's been banned from Facebook for the whole like inciting violence and causing an insurrection.
Didn't that happen like last year?
No.
or some
There was
shit?
an internal investigation.
You what?
Don't internal. There was don't minimize. There was a Supreme Court ruling.
I think it was like Facebook's Supreme Court,
which is the Supreme
which is
Court
basically
now.
the Supreme Court now. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm no longer the sole race baiting pariah.
Why did you get
on Twitter?
banned?
Why did I get banned?
Yeah.
For race baiting.
Have you not seen any of his content?
It's
No.
pretty race baity.
Really?
Yeah.
Against who, though? Because it's black people here.
Yeah, I know. I kind of do this podcast as a cover.
Okay.
So.
What did you say about us?
Yes.
If you were going to be racist about us.
Oh,
what
no,
did
I
you-
went for the textbook, I have black friends, right? And then that kind of diffuses all.
So this is what it is. Basically, what it is you grow out the skinhead look, right? You
Yes.
get a little
Yeah.
comb over thing. It's
Yes.
Griffin just in disguise.
Yes.
It's Griffin in disguise.
Yeah, and also, being an ethnic minority, I can kind of hide some of the more egregious things that I say.
Not visually an ethnic
No, but
minority.
that's the upside,
That's-
right?
yeah.
And what they call white passing.
Huh.
Hence the Griffin in disguise thing.
Yeah, well, it's not much of a disguise. It's pretty overtly Griffin-esque.
Cool, man.
I was like, how long are you gonna keep me running this fucking joke?
You know, you've had your moment. This Good and Terribly, episode 18. You are here with man like Az, man like Johnny, man like Tommy. We are here in Ableton. Who gives
Wembley, fam.
Wembley,
far ends.
We can see Wembley Stadium from the balcony.
Yeah.
It's coming home.
Yeah.
10 days, 1 week.
You can
1
tell,
week.
You can tell we're in West London because even Rich turned into a basic white girl on the way here, singing Toto's Africa on the way to the cab. He was so excited to be here. And here we are, home of the basic white girl.
Welcome.
That's in everyone's top 5, surely.
That is a big tune, to be fair.
Surely.
I'm not sure it's top 5 song.
That's in everyone's.
I don't know about top 5.
It's a basic white girl song. It's the white girl anthem.
I wouldn't call it a basic white girl song.
Basic white girl song is like "Wannabe" by Spice Girls. That's a basic white girl.
That's the Fiat 500.
The kind of stuff you'd hear on the first floor of works.
Exactly. Like, do you know what I mean? If you want my future, forget my past. You know what I mean? Africa Toto needs more respect.
More bass.
More vim.
Get it right.
Come on, bro.
All right, cool.
So here we are. Thank you to everybody who's been listening so far, episode 17 and everything before that. We are here back again, baby.
Let's go.
Bringing you, as usual, the current affairs, the things that are shifting and shaping the culture. We're here to talk about it. We are here to give you the range. A lot has happened. Where do you man want to start? I want to start with a congratulatory for Boris and Carrie Johnson.
I'm not clicking that.
I'm clicking that.
I'm not
They
clicking
got
that.
married.
Boris,
Come
the
on,
big
come
boy
on.
moves for that. You have to click.
Come on, man. I'm not
A twice divorced man getting married in a Catholic church.
He
That's power.
He is the relationship overlapping Don.
Yeah, no, I'm not really about.
That's
I'm not really
power.
about that.
That's power.
The only thing I've got slight respect for is that, like, so, you know, there's the chief political reporter for The Sun's a guy called Harry Cole.
Okay.
He was dating Carrie Simons before.
Right.
And Boris basically, like, Mr. Steal Your Girl,
Did he bust it
Harry
open?
Cole,
Did he bust it
and Harry
open?
Cole is now like the chief propagandist for Boris. So imagine, like, not only did this brother steal your wife, you now have to, like, propaganda cover this guy.
Shall I tell you who that's very similar to?
Who?
You remember your friend Ted Cruz?
Yes.
When Donald Trump called his wife ugly
Yes.
and called his dad, I said his
He
dad
said his
had,
his
like,
dad killed
helped
JFK.
kill JFK, murked him off. Then, like, a week later, had Ted Cruz phone banking
Eating
for
out
him.
of his hand. Yeah, it was
Phone
mad
banking
chat.
for him.
But he didn't actually steal Ted Cruz's missus, which is what this is like.
Did you see Carrie on her wedding day?
I didn't.
Did you see the picture?
Don't say it.
Glowing, was she?
No. If you see the picture of her, she's like wearing this white dress.
Yes. It's very hipsterish.
But she's wearing like a flower crown.
Yeah.
And then she's got this picture next to Boris, and a meme went around. It was like when Daddy drops his daughter off at Coachella.
It's very true. Very true.
That's all types of discrimination. You're being ageist.
Yes.
Yeah.
And white girl.
I think they were being ageist, to be fair, not you.
Yeah. But congrats. He looked awful, if you're wondering, if he combed his hair. He didn't.
He did not.
But it's part of the brand.
How can you get married and not
It's
get
the
a trim?
brand. It's the brand.
He didn't get a trim.
Vibes.
Chat.
Just little hair muffling vibes. You know what I mean?
Wipes.
Hit the street, wipes. But congratulations to Boris and Carrie. I hope it's a fruitful journey together.
They're narcissists that deserve each other. I hope it all ends in flames.
Oh,
Johnny,
bit harsh.
congratulate these people.
Bit
No,
harsh
for why?
there, Johnny.
Because they got married. It's a sacrament.
There's
of
a whole
God. It's
panoramic going on.
sacrament.
How have you got time to plan a
Congratulate their
wedding?
union,
It's a
my friend.
sacrament.
There's millions of people at food banks, starving children in this country. Man got
So
time to
what?
plan
He
a wedding.
shouldn't
Sort your
be
shit out,
married.
fam.
He shouldn't get married.
Not whilst the country's in a pandemic, bruv.
So he shouldn't get married.
That's loose.
Shouldn't be
That's
having a
loose.
wedding.
That's
Shouldn't be having a
loose.
wedding.
There's a 20-man wedding and like a shotgun wedding, basically.
But there was a whole planned ceremony and parties and drinks.
Bruv, he was just in and out. Like, he didn't even tell people till like the day before. Well, go on.
I'm
His
pretty
closest
sure he invited
advisors had
people.
no idea.
Why are you hating, bruv?
Yeah.
Have a guess. It's
You're a
Boris.
You ain't allowed happiness.
No, not after killing
That's
120,000
rude.
people.
Hater.
That's rude.
He's a hater.
That's
I'll die on this hill.
Nah, fair enough. Where do you man want to start? Because we got a few things to talk about.
Lead us off.
I was going to say, I'm going to ask you where we should start without you
But then
replying to me. You lead, we follow.
Our dear leader.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader, follow the leader. Whack song.
Now that can go into your basic category of
That is
exactly
yeah,
what you were talking
white
about.
girl
earlier.
wasted. That's a white girl wasted.
That's-
also,
dead.
also a staple of Nigerian 10th birthday parties.
Follow the leader.
100%.
Nah, bruv,
with Mr. Motivator around the parachute.
Congo,
Come
Mr.
on.
Motivator.
How many Nigerian birthday parties is this?
I had a Nigerian 10th birthday party.
Come on,
Don't
shut
come
up.
to me, bro.
Shut up, one time.
Upper Clapton Church. I had one
time,
fam.
shut up.
I was there.
I'm sorry, but at Nigerian parties,
Nigerian parties be popping.
they always play one song and one song only. Stevie Wonder,
That's
Happy
it.
Birthday.
Absolutely.
And if that,
Happy birthday.
and if that vinyl isn't available, the house gets turned upside down.
Vinyl.
every person on your block is getting the knock on the door like, please tell me you got Stevie Wonder on vinyl.
We did
But
that
apparently
still.
he's had a Nigerian birthday, you claim.
Upper Clapton Church.
He's lying.
Circa
Johnny's
2003. Man was there.
Allegedly.
All right. So, Naomi Osaka has been in some hot water this week.
Yeah, it's a bit bad still.
It's all
It
crazy.
is really interesting.
Poor
For
girl.
those people who have been living under a rock, right? Naomi Osaka, who today, by the way, I think was voted the highest paid female athlete ever.
No shit.
Fact check.
Really?
Yeah.
Or most valuable. Maybe forward earnings or whatever.
Turned the tennis world upside down this week at the start of the Roland Garros, aka the French Open, by a couple of days before the tournament, coming out and releasing a statement which basically was to the effect of, I am not going to be doing any interviews for you bumper ass. I'm tired and I don't like any of you motherfuckers.
I'm tired.
Okay, that was the ghetto translation. Let me give you the full statement. I'm writing this to say I'm not going to do any press during Roland Garros. I've often felt that people have no regard for athletes' mental health, and this rings true whenever I see a press conference or partake in one. We are often sat there and asked questions that we've been asked multiple times before, or asked questions that bring doubt into our minds, and I'm just not going to subject myself to people that doubt me. She continued.
That's right.
Me not doing press is nothing personal to the tournament, and a couple journalists have interviewed me since I was young, so I have a friendly relationship with most of them. However, if the organizations think that they can just keep saying, do press or you're going to be fined, and continue to ignore the mental health of the athletes that are the centerpiece of their corporation, then I just gotta laugh.
Nice.
Roland Garros,
Yes.
being the archaic, draconian establishment that it is,
Institution.
Being French.
basically said,
Being French.
Johnny, we got listeners there.
I mean, I can be xenophobic in French if you
Can
like.
you do this whole section in a French accent? Not yet. Just rev it up, innit?
All right, fine.
Rev it up. So then what happens? Apparently this shocked the world.
Yes.
It's actually quite annoying that like these are the things that we get annoyed about these days. These are things that cause uproar. I know we're still in a pandemic and all that and people are bored as fuck, but it's a bit crazy. The whole world blew up, right? Everybody was asked about it, from friggin' Rafael Nadal to people like basketball players, Kyrie Irving,
Yes.
freaking Steph Curry, etc., etc. Basically they said, crack on, love. You've got a job to do. We don't care about your mental health.
Who said?
Roland Garros is a
Roland Garros.
corporation. And that started a bit of a furore, as I just mentioned. A lot of people from around the world weighed in with their comments. Some people were on the side of, this is kind of how they make their money as tennis players, right? Sponsors, press, they get paid to be there, etc. as part of their contracts. Why isn't she obliging? Other people, mental health warriors, were like, bruh, she said she's not doing well. Leave her the fuck alone. So that's the debate. She tried to carry on after being told that she would be fined by the Roland Garros if she wasn't able to commit to these obligations. She was like, the fuck you mean? The fuck you mean?
Safe you, man.
Do you know who the fuck I am? I'm the first black and Japanese motherfucker in this bitch. Do you know who I am?
It's quite jokes because one of her earliest tweets was like, "This is going to cost me so much money, LMAO." Like, imagine having that much peas.
But it's
like,
actually going to make her more money.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the thing.
obviously.
It builds the brand,
Yeah.
right?
So unfortunately, she had to announce that she was withdrawing from the French Open a day after she was fined 15 G's, and warned that she could face expulsion from the tournament following her decision not to speak with the press.
Expulsion for life or just for that?
Just for this year.
Just for
Okay,
this.
Okay.
Now, she won her first match, so she tried to power through without the press. And it needs to be said that she did say that she's happy to do interviews at the end of the tournament and potentially work towards a new framework in which she doesn't have to be directly exposed to the press straight after matches. Fell on deaf ears, so she withdrew. And her statement after she withdrew is as follows. The fuck you mean, you bummer ass?
Come at me, bro.
No, the fuck I am.
Remarkably like the initials.
You know what I mean, right? No, she actually said, this isn't a situation I ever imagined or intended when I posted a few days ago. I think now the best thing for the tournament, the other players and my well-being is that I withdraw so that everyone can get back to focusing on the tennis going on in Paris. I never wanted to be a distraction, and I accept that my timing was not ideal and my message could have been clearer. More importantly, I would never trivialize mental health or use the term lightly. Blah, 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 blah. She bowed out. What do you think?
It's an interesting case.
Are we in a situation where even if you are at that level, even if you have a genuine reason for not wanting to jeopardize the thing that has made you famous, made you rich, because your mental health isn't where it needs to be, are we in a position as a society where we can afford to say it's in your contract, get back to work?
I like the use of the word afford there, because that's what it comes down to, right? We're talking about money at the end of the day, right? So Naomi Osaka may have made a bit of a stand right now, but realistically, she's fighting a battle that's as old as time, right? You mentioned basketball earlier. Kyrie Irving in the NBA has refused to do a series of interviews this season.
What's that about?
It's similar. Mental health, when during the BLM times and things.
Marshawn Lynch did the same thing before Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He said, I'm only here because I have to be for 30 minutes.
But that's quite old though, right?
Yeah, a few
many years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Kyrie Irving was this season. So you see this quite often, but ultimately ESPN, Sky Sports and all the rest of the broadcasters have commercial rights that allow them to mandate appearance of whatever X said star in X said sport, right? So it's tricky. Like, ultimately, that's not what made her famous. The way she chats on a mic or the way she speaks to reporters or whatever or is not the source of her success. It's not how she waxes lyrically about analyzing her game or other people's game. Her skill set is playing tennis, right? So ultimately, I don't have a problem with what she's done, basically. And I get why they're going to try to push her towards... I get Roland Garros's position on it. The same position that the NBA has, the same position that the Premier League has when managers...
Premier League, Roberto Firmino, for example, could just pretend he don't speak no English.
Yeah, but they can still compel him if they want to, right? They'll just get a translator in front of him, right? Yeah. Sir Alex Ferguson, many other managers historically have all been fined for not turning up to do press conferences and stuff, right? So...
I didn't see Aguero do an interview in fucking decade, bruv.
Yeah. But the decision's on us.
English,
he can. He fucking can.
The decision's on us. The decision's on us, basically. How important is it for me to hear what she's got to say after she's won or lost? And for me, it's not important.
Who even listens to these interviews? For real, though. Like,
I can give a...
Yeah, the press
and if you do listen, which I have from time to time, though, it's all bullshit anyway, because all they're hitting you with is the same kind of cookie cutter chat. It's like, we went out there, we tried our best, or my opposition
team performance was great.
They rose to the occasion. I'm going to look back at the tape, I'll analyze and whatever. It's just jargon, right? So there's not a huge value to it to begin with. So them kicking off, unless Roland Garros or whoever has some kind of contractual obligation with Sky or whoever who are then going to sue him, or there's no upside to kicking off about this, especially given that she said it's kind of like a mental health issue.
It needs to be added as well. Like, she basically has a bad record on clay. So this is part of the story.
Boy.
This is part of the story that, depending on how you look at it, I understand your reaction.
I agree with you, though.
It's part of the story because she knows going into a tournament where she's not necessarily good on clay, that the questioning and the reviews, et cetera, in the press conferences aren't going to be positive. So she's actually trying to preempt this, which I think is to her credit.
You think
I don't know about that.
You think she pulled a fast one because she doesn't want to go out in the third round?
She's going to go out in the third round anyway. But the point is, if she's going to go in the third... No, my point is, though, she probably knows that clay isn't her strength. So
let me ask you a question based on what you're saying, right? So she's going in there, like most athletes, let's say, trying to maintain a positive state of mind, right? Trying to stay positive. She knows, like you said, that many of the questions in these sessions will be based around her historic failure on clay, right? So does that justify a mental health day, basically? I'm trying to stay positive, right? I'm trying to stay positive. These men are going to ask me some questions about how historically I haven't been good on clay. That may seep into my mind frame and like have me doubting myself or whatever before I go to sleep or whatever it may be. As a result, I'm going to preemptively buoy that off. Cool. I've personally got no problem with it because I'm not interested in hearing her chat anyway, right? I just want to see her play tennis. But does that justify, trying to protect my mental health kind of chat?
Yeah, I think it does, because I think we associate superstars with being extroverted, and that's the problem. She's truly introverted, and I think for somebody to come out and say, I just want to step back from this because I've been kind of doing this, like, despite hating it for all this time, I'm actually going to prioritize myself, which, you have to get to a certain level of popularity and success to be able to make a claim like that. I think that's perfectly acceptable. Contractual is contractual. So if they were to take it to court, she'd probably lose. But is she wrong for coming out and saying, bruh, this is long. This is going to do more damage? I don't think she's wrong.
But the thing, the two things I don't understand is, one, she said, fucking fine me, I'll pay it, right? So the thing should just be settled there. I'm not coming, I'll pay 15 grand a pop, fine me. Bless.
You can't settle it there, though.
But that's within the rules, right?
Yeah, but fine. But then if everyone can say that, right?
Okay, fine. So then this is the point that I was going to get at. The thing I don't really understand is Roland Garros's reaction to it. So the point you just made is that
French accent.
most... Oh, yeah?
We said that, though, didn't we?
I thought you were gassing up or gearing up or something.
Yeah. As soon as you said Roland Garros, I was expecting it to kick in.
Roland Garros. The thing I don't understand from Roland Garros is the reaction to her decision. So, like you just said, most of these sports people are extroverts. They want to perform, they do the match, and then they do the press conference. That's the kind of person they are. They just want to be in the spotlight.
I think my point is more, we think that they are all extrovert.
But I do believe they are. Because
you almost slipped back into Hackney there, didn't
you?
you?
Also it kind of comes across kind of Hebrewish. Like, for
Hebrewish.
Real. Yeah. Like, I've been listening to some of the politicians speaking.
My friend, there is a difference between the Israeli and the French accent.
Okay, good.
They are not the same.
Very good.
But anyway, the point is that most other tennis players wouldn't have followed what she's doing. She would have been an outlier. The first message they could have sent was that they were supportive of her idea and supportive of not of tennis players maintaining their own mental health. Right? They could have sent that message that they are on the side of their players. And the other thing is that they wouldn't have stalked, or they wouldn't have caused other tennis players to want to join Naomi in this type of solidarity.
You've suffered enough. You can cry.
Thank you very much.
Was that better or worse than the Scottish? Because I thought the Scottish one was pretty good.
The Scottish was 10-10, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, the Scottish one was pretty good.
That was good. You slipped into Hackney a couple of times, but we move.
I'll take it. Anyway, the point is that I don't really understand why they decided to beef her on this, because they could have done good PR and good marketing by saying we support our players and our players' mental health, and then they would have also stopped other players joining her in solidarity by banning Naomi Osaka, by kicking out one of the most popular and marketable players. What are you going to do? You're just going to entice other tennis players to make this stand, make this protest. These other tennis players are performers by nature. And in fact, the problem that tennis has is that most of the big megastars, the people that actually people want to hear from, are old. There aren't a lot of young superstars in tennis, which is why it's so obsessed with Naomi Osaka, because she's one of very few marketable young players. The point I'm making is that the actual people who turn up to these press conferences are people who've been doing press conferences for 10 years.
Yeah, journalists.
Players like Serena Williams, Roger Federer, Kuznetsova, Nadal, Djokovic, the same names that people who like tennis and watch this shit have heard of for 10 years. These people, nobody else was ever going to say, I'm not doing press conferences anymore.
But why?
Because it's been in their nature. They don't suffer the same as Naomi does.
They were all trying to put it on Naomi. They're like, you are setting back tennis for women. Look what Billie Jean King did for the
That's Twitter
sexism.
chat. That's not other players.
That's
Twitter chat.
She got a lot of support from cross
watching
players. Like
okay, but this
from
is
not only tennis, but also
watching
other
Channel
sports.
4 News.
This is what Roland Garros have caused for themselves. They've created this unnecessary protestation solidarity when they could have just supported her in the first place. And no other tennis player would have, I don't think any other tennis player would have refused to do press conferences.
That's not true. I don't think so. I think that's a bit naive. Like maybe you're saying another consequential tennis player may not, but there'll be tons of like these lowly seeded players.
Let them do that.
No, but you can't.
You
because
can't.
that will then set a culture, right, of people not doing press conferences. And again, for me, that's fine. I can give a fuck, right? Because again, I don't care about what they say because it's always the same variety of 15 phrases that they all say across all sports, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that interesting to begin with. But if there is some liability that the organizer, the FA, whoever can face from their broadcast partner as a result of not doing this, then they're going to force the subject, and they're right to do so.
How do we resolve it, though? How do we resolve it? The problem with press conferences today, the problem with the media generally today is obviously we all know that it's a bit of a dying industry. So everything is clickbaity, and as a result, that manifests itself with questioning, which is of the provocative kind, which isn't necessarily of the most productive kind.
Yeah, which is kind of what she's protesting against, right?
Which tries to essentially get a reaction out of these sports people. How do you, as an elite sports athlete, how do you turn this around? Do you have a situation where, for example, Naomi Osaka says, I'm only going to do press conferences if I have my favorite 5 journalists in the room because I know that I've built a relationship with them over the years.
She did say that, to be fair. She said, I don't have a problem with all the press. I'm cool with certain journalists.
He says we can't do that. Why not?
I'd rather, it starts becoming murky when people are mandating who covers them from a sports
client
perspective,
journalism, right?
Well, exactly. It's like what they call native advertising.
Client
in the marketing
journalism,
world,
yeah.
right? Yeah, it's the same shit.
I mean, in a government dictatorship, fine, it's different, but it's sports, right? So.
But it's the same, though. It's the same. Like, if LeBron or if Ronaldo or whoever gets constantly good coverage from one particular journalist and then can turn around and say, I only want to be interviewed by this journalist at all times. That's bullshit.
Yeah, but
I'm supporting her right not to do interviews, but I'm not supporting her right to start picking and choosing who interviews her for which event and so forth. That I think is bullshit.
I don't know, bro. If you got big and famous, you'd pick the person who did your biography.
Again, but that's fine because that's your biography. But if you're turning up to do an ESPN interview and you're saying, I want the guy from BBC Sports to do my ESPN interview, what's that about?
And it's not necessarily to write favorably, though. It's just to write more balanced.
But it is favorably because ultimately, I'm never going to pick someone who writes bad things about me.
Yeah, but that's my point. Obviously, we would have to trust that Naomi Osaka picks fairly herself, but
we can't. Like, we may trust Naomi, but once you open this rule up to everybody, you can't believe that everybody's going to be working in an honest manner.
The thing that I don't get is there's kind of false equivalence in this whole debate because your position, Rich, seems to be that she should give equal access. Oh no, sorry, your position is that she should give equal access to all journalists, right?
And that's not really my position. I'm not saying equal.
Well, she shouldn't be able to pick and choose the journalists. Okay, yeah. So then I don't necessarily buy that because what are tennis players? Sports people are performers in the same context that musicians and artists are performers, right? You wouldn't expect rappers to give interviews to journalists who write shit about them. Yeah. And in fact, they don't.
That's the point.
Let me re-explain what I'm trying to say, right? So at any point, Naomi Osaka or any sports star has the right to grant interviews to anybody they want, right? So she could do Vogue, GQ, or something else. And she can pick. She has complete autonomy to pick which magazines, which outlets, etc. But at tournament times, when there are specific commercial agreements in place between event organizer and broadcaster and the guys who broadcast on TV versus radio versus etc., she shouldn't then have the right in that scenario to say, actually, I want to speak to the sports correspondent from GQ or from ESPN or whatever, right? In those tournament settings, individual players can't be dictating who covers the sport, basically. Outside of that tournament setting, she is 100% within her rights to pick and choose to whom she wants to grant interviews, right?
Sure.
But in that tournament setting, if X company have bought the commercial rights to that tournament, She has to, either she does an interview or she doesn't. She can't then say, I'll do the interview, but only with, this person.
Yeah, so I hear you. I hear that aspect.
Yeah,
to me,
yeah.
I think she should just maintain the right that if she doesn't like ESPN and ESPN asks her questions, she just goes, I ate rice and mushrooms.
But there's
for
no
lunch.
rule against that. She can do that.
Yeah, she can do that.
She can do
So
that. She
maybe
can
that's a
turn
happy
up
medium.
and she can boy off questions she doesn't like.
But that's another media narrative that will grow, that will make it even worse for somebody who is trying to remove herself from it entirely.
Just leave. I like what she done. I like not leaving the tournament, but just saying, I'm not doing the press conferences. It's fine.
The painful thing about this is that this is going to follow her around. Full stop. This is going to follow her around. Every tournament.
This is why I think
now
Roland Garros
be,
are culpable, because they didn't need to.
Yeah.
They could have just said, "Okay, Naomi, you don't have to do interviews.
Yeah.
That's fine. Everyone else will do them."
But we know that's not how big corporations work.
Hopefully your head's in a better place for Wimbledon, and when you come back next year, hopefully you don't mind doing interviews with us then. See you next year.
Yeah.
And instead, we've got this whole furore.
Yeah. Well, look, man, I hope she's okay. I know that she's quite a introverted, as I said, self-deprecating person who, is very, very high profile because she's great. Is probably going to be the next great tennis superstar to follow on from Serena, who she quite aptly dethroned at the back end of her career. I just hope she's cool, man. Right at the end of the day, I hope she's cool. Like these are individual sports. Like we're not talking about team sports where the pressure is distributed evenly or kind of evenly. Like these are individual sports, and the pressure that these people put themselves under all the time. Sometimes they need a cry for help. It's our responsibility as a society to deal with those cries for help adequately. And I don't think, to Johnny's point, Roland Garros really did that. And to claim that she is setting tennis back because she isn't necessarily in the spirit of somebody like Billie King or Billie Jean King or whatever her name is, she came out and supported Naomi and said, go off and get the help that you need. So again, not everything for Twitter.
Just to build on what you said about the responsibility on the society piece, I think it's something I was trying to get to earlier as well. It's kind of on us as the viewing public,
consumers,
right? As the consumer. If we turn around to the broadcasters like ESPN or like Sky or like BBC or whoever else, and we effectively make it clear that we know we don't care about these post interviews really. Like there's no real. I'd rather watch two analysts break down the match or the game or whatever we've just seen, as opposed to having the artist or the performer or the sports person to talk about it. So it's on us basically to make sure that we let people know how we feel about it.
But I'd also rather watch a performer in a better place mentally to perform at a more entertaining level than listen to them talk after the game.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah, so we're saying the
same
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
Shout out Naomi Osaka.
Shout out
man.
Naomi.
Big up yourself.
Yeah, she'll be back and she's going to be getting some
Well
Grand
done.
Slams, baby.
Well done.
I want to get the miserable topic out of the way now.
Okay. What's that?
We need to talk about what's happening in our beloved London, and we need to talk about what's happening in the wider UK. This is a topic that's going to encompass quite a few different things, but the main sort of theme is knife and gun violence in the UK. Now, in the last couple of weeks, it's been a bit crazy. As you're probably aware, there's been quite a few cases or reports of knife crime in and around London, all across the UK. One of the more startling reports wasn't actually knife crime at all. It was the case of Sasha Johnson, very well-known Black Lives Matter activist, who was essentially shot in the head. I think it was at her house in Peckham. So literally up the road from where I went to school every day. And she still, even though we don't really know, I went for an update today and I can't find shit on how she's actually doing, but she's been in a critical condition as of at least a week ago. She was seized upon, I guess you could say, at a house party and shot in the head by a group of men. And the Metropolitan Police obviously responded to those reports of gunfire. It was at a party on a Saturday night. That's not necessarily the focus. You move on from that, and you may have seen, not that it was national news, but you may have seen it on Twitter, you may have seen it circulated around on the internet, a bunch of guys chasing after a fellow guy in Hyde Park a few days ago with, what can only be described as like machetes.
Mad chat.
Chasing this guy who also seemed to have a sort of sizable knife or something in his hand as well. He eventually was outnumbered, fell to the ground, was rushed, essentially stabbed, and he is in hospital with serious injuries as well. We obviously have the story as well of the very, very young Dejon Reed, who was 14 years old in Birmingham, who was fatally stabbed after being chased in what is believed to be a racially motivated murder. Of the 5 people that they're after, or the 5 people that have been charged, I think 3 of them are 33 and above.
Fucking hell.
2 of them are 17 and below. We can break through all of the stats in the UK because it doesn't really paint a picture when you just hear articles in the news. I always have reservations when these knife crime stories are so rampant because, you know, I'm in my 30s. I have seen these news cycles where all you hear about is knife crime and then you don't hear about it anymore. Yeah. It's usually followed by stricter stop and search rules from the police. It's usually followed by polarization politically between the right and the left. It's usually used as a political play for elections, mayoral or general. So I try to remove myself from it, as hurtful as it is and as unsafe as it feels being a Londoner, being black, you know. I try to remove my emotions from it and I just try to read the stats. So in the conversation, I was doing some research, and the Ben Kinsella Trust, and if you don't know about Ben Kinsella's story, you should probably research that as well, threw up quite a few stats. Now, in terms of police recorded offences involving a knife or a sharp instrument in the last 12 months, we've had 46,000 in the UK.
And in what time period you said?
In the last 12 months.
Wow.
So 12 months up to December 2020. So yeah. Obviously, the reports for this year will come out later on this year. That represents a 71% increase in knife crime in England and Wales since 2014. However, interestingly, and you can give me your opinions on what you feel about this, there's a 9% decrease in knife crime in England and Wales on the previous 12 months to December 2020. So knife crime apparently has fallen 3 quarters in a row up until that point.
Okay.
Many people point to that being as a result of the pandemic, not being able to go out.
That makes sense.
And conversely, is saying that the reason why this is happening more and more now is because people are outside. But it goes on. 237 police recorded murders involving a knife or a sharp instrument in the last 12 months to December 2020. 24 children aged just 17 or younger were murdered with a knife or a sharp object in 2019, representing the highest number of children murdered in over a decade. We're hearing more and more of these stories. What's going on?
I mean, look, you strip funding for youth centres. You strip funding for after-school care. You strip funding for the police. I don't mean this in a defund the police type context, but you quite literally cut the number of bobbies that are about and walking about. You can debate the merits thereafter, but the fact is that the police have less resource to police by consent. You've got no after-school clubs, no coppers, no support for parents. You remove Sure Start. You cap the benefits available to parents in difficult conditions across the country. And then you wonder why crime rates go up. And it just seems bizarre to me.
Crime rates have gone down, he said, right? They're down 70%.
Apparently they've gone down.
Outside of the pandemic.
Yeah, my prediction is that when these stats are reviewed, the numbers will be
they'll be going back up again.
Year.
Right? It's not it's apples and oranges comparing a society in lockdown compared to one out of one. What's been going on? There has been a social and economic erosion to an extent that makes lawlessness somewhat inevitable, that makes material conditions for people across the country significantly more difficult than it needs to be. A lot of this crime is youth-led. And when you don't give kids anything to do after school, when you increase the cost of living to the extent that
parents have to work 2-3 jobs.
Parents have to work 2 or 3 jobs, and they have to find a way to make money to have fun as kids. When you increase the barriers to them, either to attaining reasonable employment after school or university, then what you're doing is hampering the dreams and ambitions of these people, these young people, to to find or to seek success through kosher means.
Yeah.
And you can't then blame young people for being hurt when you've spent a decade kicking them through policy.
Yeah. What do you reckon?
I don't know. I mean, like, so the point you're making is with more things to do, i.e., youth clubs and things to occupy your time as a young person and living in like an inner city, more urban-like environment, that would result in a decrease in knife crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I have no idea. I feel like, I guess the older we get, the more removed we become from the mentality, perhaps, that a lot of the kids who may be doing this.
It's a real good point.
So I feel like I honestly almost can't speak too eloquently on the subject because I don't know what's going through their mind.
How much of this is...
But,
let me ask you a direct question then.
Sure.
How much of this is on the youths themselves?
Well, that's the point I was trying to get at, right?
Yeah.
So when Johnny was trying to say, when you take away youth programs, when you increase the cost of living in the city, when and so forth, I don't know if at 14 you're having those kinds of reasoned discussions with yourself, right? I don't think you're looking at the world in which you're living in and seeing no opportunity, therefore I'm going to commit crime. I don't know if these decisions of joining gangs or committing crimes that we're seeing, knife crimes or whatever, are necessarily rational decisions, right? They're not necessarily people rationally or kids rationally looking out, assessing the opportunities that are available to them, and then thinking, right, it's actually maybe easier making money this way. I maybe it is, but I struggle to think that's what it is. Right?
What else do you think is influencing these kids then?
So part of what you said that I agree with is if you have parents working multiple jobs and and all that kind of thing, maybe finding a sense of family or togetherness in a group of friends or whatever, in what can loosely be described as a gang or whatever, that makes sense to me, right? So if if you're living in an environment where your mum and dad or you're living in a single parent household or either or, but they're both just not at home because they're having to work to make ends meet, and then you've got a bunch of free time leading to your point that then leads you to then maybe joining a gang or something, cool. That kind of rationale makes sense to me. I just don't think it's rational decision making. I think it's more happenstance. There might be some recruitment going on and things like this, but I don't think you can just necessarily draw a straight line between some government policies and, let's say, knife crime necessarily.
But it's almost making the point for me in that it absolutely isn't rational decision making, because these kids are 11, 12, 13, 14, exactly, 15. So by definition, they're not legally old enough to make
no, but
these
they can
rational
still
decisions.
make rational decisions at that age.
But not, okay, fine. We'd end up debating this for hours. But the point is that it happens by happenstance through lack of alternatives. These kids aren't accounted for when they leave school.
But whose responsibility is that?
The temptations are there for them. There are older kids on the streets.
Can I just interject there? Whose responsibility, who is it on to make sure that kid is busy after 3:30? Who's that on? Is it my responsibility as a community member, as someone who lives in a postcode or whatever as part of a community?
Yeah.
Is it the government's responsibility from central, whether it's central government or your local council?
Yeah.
Is it your parents' responsibility? You know, it takes a village to raise a child and all that kind of chat.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
But ultimately, I don't think you can put this 100% squarely on the back of a given government.
So that question is answered by what kind of society you want to live in. And if you live in a society where both parents have to work full-time jobs to the extent that the kid's on his own until 6 o'clock, and then taxpayer money isn't going in to support childcare, then you are creating a society in which child crime is likely to go up and youth crime is likely to go up.
Facts.
I think if we lived in a society, okay, maybe both parents do have to work jobs, Maybe that's in material realities. Maybe not ideal, but those are material conditions. But we made it a priority of ours to direct our tax money to ensuring that young people had more opportunities outside of school, so that their parents could go and contribute to the economy. Then we wouldn't see children falling into delinquency in the same rate that we are. And we have that decision within our means. We could make that decision. We spend so much money on extraneous shit and various other areas.
Yeah.
Providing services for children is such a small lift. We used to do it. We've decided that it's not worth it anymore. And now youth crime has gone up since 2010. Or, okay, we've had this little blip in the pandemic. But fundamentally, as all these right-wing fucking people keep attacking Sadiq Khan, knife crime and youth crime is going up in London uncontrollably. And why is it going up uncontrollably? It's going up because we're now seeing the lagged effect of the removal of any alternate activity for young people to do. And that, I think, is on the back of a 10-year-old government in various guises that made the decision to remove funding for these programs.
What about the kids themselves? Do you think that
the kids themselves they're fucking children?
Nobody, you can't abdicate responsibility like that.
They're not all kids.
The kids are kids. Okay, so the oldest who are sending kids out to Crunch and doing the recruiting, okay, fine.
For me, that's 19 is a kid, 20 is a kid, but that's just me.
Okay, but the 13 and 14-year-olds who are going out to Crunch to shop food,
yeah,
come on, they're not doing that out of fucking desire.
Unless you're in
let's be serious.
Unless you're in
those men who are being groomed, those men who are under order, that's slightly different. The people who are gang members, the people who are essentially trying to fast track their way to wealth.
Okay.
Again, that's a conversation.
But a lot of those kids were the 13 and 14-year-olds going Crunch 5 years ago, right? There is a pipeline.
I agree. I've always said that one of the biggest problems that sits within the society in terms of agency, in terms of the responsibilities of the black youths and the family is, as a society, I don't necessarily think a lot of underprivileged really understand the value in just fucking aiming for the middle class. Because they're in a really, really extreme position in being poor or being from a poverty background, they immediately shoot for the extreme opposite end of that, which is untold generational wealth. We don't do enough in the society, I think, to just promote being middle class and just getting a normal job, which I think is kind of along where Tommy was going, doing normal things and not going for the extreme alternatives can land you in a position where you don't necessarily end up in Hyde Park stabbing up people. And
that's partly fueled by Instagram and that kind of stuff.
And that's why I was asking you about where are the other influences coming from. I'm not going to sit here and say it's drill. I'm not a mug, right? But it all plays a part. Society doesn't necessarily throw up too many role models for these kids. It's easy to create a social media page. It's easy to follow your favorite rappers and stuff. And most of the rappers, as much as you can't blame them, right, they do promote a life which seems attainable to some extent because Fredo is just like me. He's just from my ends. Of course I can do it. And then they realize how real this shit is. So we go through extreme measures to get to that wealth without really knowing how people like Fredo get there. I personally think it would be great if we just promoted being fucking middle class so that people understand that in order to get to that level of wealth, it probably takes 2 or 3 generations.
But it doesn't, right? You mentioned drill earlier, and one part of the reason that drill is so popular amongst youth is that it is like a get out of jail free card, right? It is potentially, if I can write good music, or if I am hot and I can be on Instagram, or if I can kick ball or whatever, there are certain paths that can get you to these untold riches that you speak of quite quickly, right? Yeah. So it does make sense that you don't necessarily, I mean, who wants to be told, look, do these courses, work a 60-hour week, and you can make 50 bags a year? That's not a sexy story to sell. More people should want to be. I mean, but I'm saying that's kind of what I'm saying, bro. But I'm just talking about from a sales pitch perspective. Yeah. If you with that pitch and 2 or 3 other people with maybe a kind of, let's say, a digital economy pitch, if you want to put it that way, with that kind of Instagram, TikTok, blah 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 pitch, and whatever, and then whoever else are pitching different career paths and alternatives to these people, then your option is a difficult one to sell. Going back to something that Johnny said earlier, I think part of the position that, like, part of the reason I'm disagreeing with some of the things that Johnny was saying is also there has to be also some personal responsibility involved in this, right? Like whether you're a kid, cool, you're a kid. If you're a kid who's been, I wouldn't even say necessarily groomed, but if you're I don't know if blackmail is the right word, but if you're in a scenario where you don't have any real optionality of not participating, then cool, that's a slightly different scenario.
Yeah.
But in every other scenario, people are making decisions, right? You're weighing up risks. You're saying, I can shop this ounce and I can make X amount, and the downside is I could potentially get caught an X period of time in jail, right? And these are active decisions that people are making. I'd rather make,
But
these
they're
50
kids.
grand, but it
They're
doesn't
kids
matter.
without an alternative.
No,
bonkers.
I don't
It's
agree
a
with any of
bonkers
that.
thought
People
process.
have to take responsibility. There's right and there's
How
wrong.
can you take responsibility at
There's
15?
right and
You're
wrong.
legally not. You're
But you know
legally
right
not
from
old
wrong.
enough.
You know right from wrong.
You said something there, Johnny, which I kind of got to disagree with. When you're 15 years old, you do know right from wrong. You may not be legally allowed to do X, Y, Z.
You're a Dave Chappelle fan,
Yeah.
and he's got that classic stand-up about how old is 15 really?
Yeah.
How old is 15 really? When people in America at 15, if you can get charged as an adult and do a double life sentence, how old is 15?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm
Yeah.
not here to defend the U.S. justice system, but this is detracting
What were you doing at
from
15?
this.
Like, you knew right from wrong at 15,
I
bro.
did know right from wrong, but I was very fortunate enough that my material conditions and my growing up wasn't in a place where I felt like I had to sell drugs to either gain some type of aspirational wealth or support my own family, which is what a lot of these kids are
You
doing.
still know if
they
it's
feel
right
like they're
or
going to
wrong.
help their parents pay the bills by selling weed. They feel like if they can join a gang, then they're going to make friends or whatever, or they're actually going to generate some income that they might have something that they're proud of. Because they don't live in an economic condition where they feel comfortable enough without selling drugs to have things that they like.
That chat is the same chat as that stripper who's on the pole is doing it for law classes or some shit. Of course, maybe some kids are helping their parents out, but they're not doing it to pay mum's light bill. They're doing it for a Moncler jacket, right? Or some Gucci trainers or some shit like that.
Okay, so then
we
we can have a
can't
wider
have some
discussion about-
idealistic
so we
chat.
can- so we can have
that
a wider
he's out
discussion
here
about-
shotting to help pay mum's bill, and that's all too idealistic, bro. You have to. People have to take some level of personal responsibility in the actions they take.
So we can have a chat about why does society make Moncler jackets and all these things.
Forget that.
Well, that's a
Forget
much
all of
wider
that.
chat. The point is that kids who grow up in places where they aren't properly broke and their parents also aren't properly broke, despite working two jobs, tend not to get into this. The vast majority of kids, regardless of race, background, whatever, the majority of kids who end up becoming criminals grew up in poverty. It's the root cause of crime is always poverty.
Yeah, but
it's not culture or any
Sure,
other
but
stupid
no one's saying
argument.
that.
It's
No one's
poverty.
saying
If you grow
culture.
up poor, you're likely to get into crime.
No,
That's what it
don't
comes
go
down
left
to.
and right. That's not what we're saying. We're not talking about. Agreed. Poverty is not an issue.
Poverty is the root cause.
Agreed. And what you're saying about optionality, about not necessarily having many other options, so you turn to crime, may be something we can agree with.
Right.
However, you turn to crime knowing that it's wrong. You can't say
Do it out of necessity.
sometimes, but
Most of the time.
Yeah, cool. But we'll have to agree to disagree. And this is how you can almost tell where people are, even on a political spectrum, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Is how much personal responsibility an individual has versus how much of that responsibility sits in some kind of centralized government, basically.
Society.
The truth is always somewhere in the middle, as I like to say. I know you don't want to hear
I
that.
disagree.
No one
in
wants to
strong
hear that kind of
terms.
chat. That's the 50 grand, 60-hour-a-week chat.
But you know,
But
the
bro,
one-
it's
true.
but it's consistent with my view that we
Exactly.
should stop aiming for the stars.
Well,
and
the
some
one-
of this
the one-
stuff.
the
we
only-
make better decisions in that way.
The only
right?
thing-
I didn't come from abject poverty.
Yeah.
Right, but my parents worked their friggin' asses off. They had
Yeah.
nothing when they came over from Nigeria. I would hang out with the family members of the biggest fucking Peckham boys you knew. I was this close to getting involved. Like, I almost got killed outside of my fucking house because I looked like somebody who was a rival of another gang from in the inner city London, right? So we are all very, very close to it. Maybe it's my Nigerian disciplinarian upbringing, which meant that I was just essentially quite scared of doing anything to upset my parents. And the fact that some of these kids don't have their
Big
parents
part of it.
around
Big part.
obviously doesn't give them that option to be scared. But ultimately, going back to my point, I never really aspired, irrespective of how I had to hustle to pay for my school dinners sometimes. I never ever said to myself, I want to be a fucking millionaire, even when I started making music, even with this podcast. Do you know what I mean? And obviously I'm in a different position because I work as well, but it's about the aspiration. That's mixed in there as well. Because you can do ordinary things, even in pretty dire circumstances, to get yourself in a better situation. But the way up and what you can gain from pursuing a particular type of life is what people are allured to. And I feel like that's the part of it which I think could make a huge dramatic change to the outcomes that we're seeing right now. So lastly, like, what's this going to mean long term? How do we see us getting out of this in a sentence? How do you see us potentially turning this around? Is it getting rid of the Tory government? I mean, we're going to see more stop and search. That's definitely going to happen. Cressida Dick is going to eat this up. Like, how do we turn this around? What's a short-term fucking plan?
Address the root causes of poverty. Alleviate poverty. Remove communities from poverty.
Yeah.
Erase poverty, and you will stop the pipeline into crime. That's my view.
Tommy?
Yeah. Nah, that's fine. Like the answer.
Tommy wants to go in, but like...
I mean, the answer is so much broader. But yeah, that's definitely part of the answer.
What else?
Like, I mean, like, from what Abiadi was saying earlier about when he was almost wrapping it up, when we were talking about essentially the way up, right, of aspiration versus maybe the law of making short-term gains or whatever, then if you are super conservative, then the argument is, all right, cool, we'll just make the way up easier by making the punishment much harder, all right? Cool, fine. I spent the last 6 years in Dubai, right? The downsides of crime in Dubai are large, right? So less crime occurs, right? So again, it goes down to where you are.
People aren't poor in Dubai.
They are poor. Wait. Let me dispel a huge myth. 40% of the population who are migrant workers are poor.
They're not granted state benefits.
No one's granted
free oil,
benefits.
Free petrol.
One second. No, my friend, you can't be doing this. Like, these guys live off £400, £500 a month.
Migrant labour is different.
No one has state benefits in the country, right? These guys on £500 a month who are working close to 100-hour weeks are not committing crime. Some are committing crime for sure, but they're not committing crime at the same levels that we're seeing in the UK because the punishment for crime is much more severe, right? I'm not advocating, I mean, the answer for this is 20 years auto sentence if you're carrying a knife. That's not what I'm advocating. I'm just saying that the solution is a holistic solution. It's not as easy as, we need 10 billion to go into social programs and because ultimately we're never going to completely alleviate poverty. We're never going to eliminate anything altogether, right? So the point that I'm trying to get at is in the short term, there are things that we can do to reduce crime.
Do you want harsher sentences?
I don't want harsher sentences. But
do you think,
actually,
you don't want it, but do you think it would work?
I think harsher sentences, along with a concoction of other policies, let's say, relating to alleviation of crime, relating to whatever it may be. They talk about all types of like family-related tax credits for childcare, minding, and whatever. Cool. I think you can put this together in a much larger package to tackle this kind of issue. But regardless, we're not going to see an elimination of crime. We're not going to see elimination of this kind of shit. So we can do little things around the edges to minimize the numbers, but ultimately it is what it is. Basically,
Johnny's about to blow a casket, so we're going to move.
Because the answer for Johnny is 100 billion in spending, and everything will suddenly be fixed.
The truth is somewhere in the middle.
No, it's not. And in fact, I won't address Tommy's point because I'm not going to be allowed to. I'm being censored. But the one thing that Margaret Thatcher ever said,
media.
The one thing that Margaret Thatcher ever said that I do have respect for is the problem with standing in the middle of the road is that you're guaranteed to get hit by traffic. So the answer isn't in the middle. There is a clear answer to this shit, and it is not anywhere near the middle or on the right, as Tommy's put it across.
I wasn't saying politically.
But we'll move it.
I wasn't saying politically the answer somewhere.
You're gonna have to move on from it.
I guess the point was that
I'm gonna have to come back to Tommy.
I guess the point was that in between both of your stances,
Tommy's wrong.
Probably lies the truth.
And
I don't think
Johnny's right. It's easy to say it's not my fault. That's Johnny's position. It's nothing to do with me. It's the environment I'm in.
Anyway, I love
That's
that.
your position. That's your position.
We're going to have to do a whole episode on this.
Yeah.
Because we could do.
Letty's going to have to get in the middle of you, man.
The crowd will have to intervene.
No, but for real, I just want to send prayers and love and well wishes to everybody that's been affected by this recently. Get well soon, Sasha Johnson. We hope to hear from you soon. The families of Dejon Reed and everybody who's been taken from us recently. Prayers with you and the family. Like, I mean, to any kids who are listening to this who know somebody who's involved in that shit,
Amen.
Like, just appeal to them. This ain't the way to go about it. Like, we want to keep our young, youthful, inspirational young men and women alive. Like, this shit isn't worth it, right? This shit is not worth it. And we also so prayers to everyone.
We also don't want to live in a society where the way that Dubai treats their migrant workers is any way a form of crime prevention, because that's totally fucked.
That's a bite. Anyway,
don't troll me, bro. Don't troll me.
So last week when we were talking about Israel and Palestine, Johnny made a comment about the fact that this is hugely politically charged and Netanyahu is having an absolute fucking field day ahead of an election that was coming up.
Safe to say that didn't quite work out for old Bibi.
What's the bye-bye song? We need a good song to sing au revoir to.
Yes. I got one. I know I've got one. That's a good one, but I was going to go for...
I hope you're going for what I'm going to go for. Go on.
Goodbye.
Yes, my friend.
I know you're gone, you said you're gone, but I can still feel you here.
That's it.
It's not the end.
Yes.
You said you made it. It wasn't. Hey, no. Bibby.
The reason that's apt, is because the second line of the tune is, you know this is not the end. Bibi's revenge, bro.
Bibby.
Oh boy. Baby. Man like Bibi.
And now for our Israeli correspondent.
Israeli correspondent. See, they changed my job title from political correspondent to straight token man.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
Just glad it's not me for once, bro.
Yeah,
At least you know.
So I mean, coalition, wagwan.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sticky one still.
It's a bit of
a sticky one for quite a few reasons, because basically Bibi's choices are be prime minister or go jail.
Yeah, it's techie for man.
So in the last episode, we kind of promised not to do a breakdown of Israeli politics.
And we're not today, where we just want to...
But we're just going to give the basics.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is there has been a coalition of madness put together to remove Bibi. So there's 120 seats in the Knesset, which is the parliament, and they have managed to get 61 MPs to form a coalition, a fuck Bibi coalition. So the way that this is working in terms of parallel context is, say, for example, that we've got Boris and the Tories in this country.
Yes.
And Labour, the Lib Dems, the Greens, the BNP, UKIP,
No way.
Brexit, Plaid Cymru, Sinn Féin, and the monster raving Looney Party all formed a coalition, and they had 50% plus 1 seats. That's what's happened in Israel.
Mad tick.
That's what's happened in Israel.
It's very mad.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
I heard it being described as the only thing that all of these parties had in common was a hate for Bibi.
Correct. That's
Wow.
100% accurate.
So who leads a party like that?
So the main opposition party is basically a centrist platform. I'm going to save names because it's all just going to get lost in context. But there's a centrist party, and they're
That's
led
the
by
TV guy, yeah?
Sorry?
That's the TV guy.
Yeah, Yair Lapid. And so he leads the biggest party in opposition with about 17 seats or something. And so they are the biggest part of the coalition, but the main thrust of negotiations has been done by him and the guy who leads a far-right party, ultra-nationalist party, a guy called Naftali Bennett.
Yeah.
So this guy, Naftali Bennett, is going to become prime minister for 2 years, And then the guy that leads the biggest party is going to become prime minister in 2 years'
Just
time.
fuck shit up for 2 years, then pass the baton.
Yeah, basically. So
Unlikely though.
mad.
It's unlikely the government will stay around for the
Okay,
second guy to get a chance.
Well, it's unlikely. I think it's unlikely that this coalition will even be formed.
For real?
Yeah,
I thought it
and
was
I'll
like
get to
done.
that. I'll get to that in a second. So basically, the point I wanted to make is that people think, the end of BB, this is going to be tremendous news for Palestine and for fucking awful. This is terrible news.
That was my question. What does it
Terrible
mean?
news.
What does it
Okay,
mean?
so there's been a lot of noise about the fact that this is the first time that an Arab Islamist party has been part of the Israeli government coalition. That's true. However, this guy, Abbas, basically is completely ditching Palestinians for Israeli Arabs. So as part of the coalition negotiations, he's managed to get retroactive building permits in the Negev desert. And his concern is, his platform is like, I'm an Israeli Arab. I'm taking care of Israeli Arabs. What you lot want to do in the West Bank, is your thing. Obviously, we'll kind of back your thing, but we're Israeli Arabs. I'm taking care of my people specifically. So that's not good. Just because you've got Arab Islamists is not good for Palestinians. More dangerously, Naftali Bennett is a fucking nut job, right? This guy's been quoted in the past as saying shit like, I've killed many Arabs in my time and I've got no problem with it. He used to be in the IDF. He served in the army.
The party, if I've understood correctly, is basically former settlers or something like this, right? He leads like a party of former...
They're aggressively pro-settlement.
But they're a group of former settlers.
Yes.
Further, yeah.
They are. So okay. So without getting too much into, basically, there's a lot of similarities between Bibi and Boris. Okay, they're both a little bit overweight with dodgy hairlines and large noses, but they also used to be like old school neoliberal conservatives who've moved to the right as politics has moved to the right in the West. Right, they're fake nationalists. Yeah. Problem is that this Naftali Bennett guy is even further to the right than Bibi.
Yeah,
he is like, if Bibi's like, fuck the Arabs. Naftali Bennett is like, fuck the fucking Arabs, bro. Like, I fucking hate these people. I've got no problem wiping them all out of the West Bank.
But he's in a coalition, so all of his most right-wing things are evened out, right? By the people he's in a coalition with.
To an extent. Yeah. To an extent. But the point is that even the Arab Islamist guy, Abbas, in the coalition is not going to stop Naftali Bennett as prime minister for 2 years fucking the Palestinians even further.
Yeah.
That's really bad. This is not a moment of like optimistic change in Israel. This is not going to help Palestine. This is really, really dangerous and actually is going to lead to more political instability in Israel. And that's not going to be good for anyone
to answer
in the region.
Abiyadi's question, I think there's a vote basically of confidence in this new coalition that's happening in a couple of days.
So the way this is going to work and why I think it's going to crumble is because the majority is one. They've got 61 seats in this coalition. The Speaker of the House is an old school Netanyahu ally. If he can delay the vote, Netanyahu basically has 10 days to pick people off. And in Naftali Bennett's own party, the super ultra nationalists, that's where the likely weak link is. And Netanyahu's come out and saying this is a left-wing coalition. Look at these people going into bed with left-wing parties and they're going into bed with Arabs. And actually Naftali Bennett's own ultra nationalists are going to be like, well, no, fuck this. We're not going into government with Arabs and we're definitely not going into Arabs with socialists. Let's go back and join Bibi. And if they do, the coalition falls apart and it's a new election.
For you.
I guess in summation, this is not good news for Palestinians, basically.
Just, as a follow-up to last week, I think that's the most important thing.
I mean, basically, this could end terribly for everyone. Like, this could end terribly for Bibi. This could end terribly for the Palestinians. This is by no means positive news. People shouldn't take it as a win for anyone.
But somewhat positive, right?
No, for who? I don't see it positive for anyone.
So, 2 questions. Does that mean that my singing of Spice Girls at the beginning of this segment was misplaced? And secondly, what does this mean for...
It might be, but no one knows.
Secondly, what does this mean for Liverpool legend Yossi Benayoun?
So let me take this one on. Your singing of that tune was not misplaced, as I told you. The second word of the second line of the tune is "This will not be the end."
Correct.
What about Yossi? What about Yossi?
Yossi's safe, I think.
Yeah, and I think he's probably going to get a statue somewhere outside Ben Gurion Airport or on Dizengoff Street or something.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, he's cool.
Yossi baller.
Him and Tal Ben Chaim are dispelling the myth that Jews aren't good athletes.
You missed that Ayal Berkovic.
True. Managed by Avram Grant. What's up?
Man like Avram.
Shout out Avram. What's he doing?
Man like Avram.
What's he doing?
He's currently being interviewed by Spurs, in fact.
Wow. Here we go.
Bro, imagine if you went in for Conte but ended up with Grant.
Yeah, I'd take that.
You can't even...
I take that.
Abby and I are just out here fishing, basically.
Yeah, they're trying to race bait me as the minority on this podcast.
Race bait me, that's good.
That feels so good to hear. A white guy saying the minority on this podcast.
Whoa.
Yeah, brother.
But luckily
Latino
this
Jew.
time not in the room, given we're on tour.
Yes.
So the next one is one of my favorite stories of the week. And I don't know if it's because I'm sort of just like getting on a bit. So certain things just don't ping my heart like they used to, but it's about the royal family.
Oh, our favorites.
Now, from the same family that brought you the national classics. Wait, Dodi is Arabic? Who then followed it up with the smash. Andrew? Oh, Prince. The never.
That was a Christmas classic, that one.
And the recent smash. What color is your mulatto picnic going to be, Megan?
Jeez.
Bring you the new smash. The ghost archives of the 1960s.
Okay.
Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen, this week, The Guardian, shout out The Guardian.
No, I never shout out The Guardian.
Why?
Because it's...
Do you like anything, Johnny?
Other than Trump? No.
Okay, cool. Why don't you like The Guardian, bro?
Because it's turned into like fake left-wing neoliberal, what the Tories aptly call Islington intelligentsia dogshit rag paper. It's shit chat. The Guardian is shit chat.
Anyway, they did a good thing this week. They unearthed documents buried in the UK National Archives which revealed that the Queen had banned ethnic minority immigrants and foreigners from holding clerical positions at Buckingham Palace until at least the 1960s.
No way.
According to the report, the Queen's chief financial manager told civil servants in 1968 it was not, in fact, the practice to appoint coloured immigrants or foreigners to clerical roles.
Absolutely
They were
not.
allowed to be hired as domestic servants.
Not in vogue.
The palace has not clarified when that policy ended, only telling us in a statement that claims based on a second-hand account of conversations from over 50 years ago should not be used to draw or infer conclusions about modern-day events or operations, which is palace speak for. Just because I was racist then doesn't mean I'm racist now.
It's Palace speak for, get out my fucking business, man.
Honestly, like...
Who said anything about oil?
Why are you playing the race card? I mean, it's 2021. We love everyone. The investigation also revealed, and this is the fucking kicker right here. The investigation also revealed that decades ago, the palace used a parliamentary procedure known as Queen's Consent to essentially obtain an exemption from UK legislation, which was put in place to prevent discrimination in the workplace, including the hiring of people based on their ethnicity, which means that the Queen, to this day, is still exempt from those laws
You're goddamn right.
today.
Some real Queen shit.
So who asked Meghan how black that baby's gonna be? I need to know.
I reckon it's William.
I think that one's still out there. But
I reckon it's William.
I think when you were telling this story, it reminded me of a Dave Chappelle bit.
Okay.
Right? Where he was talking about R. Kelly and not wanting to be a celebrity if you can't piss on your fans. Oh shit. Right? So if you're the Queen, if you can't self-exempt yourself from rules you don't like, then bun being Queen. Do you know what I mean? A new thing comes, I don't like that. That don't apply to me, right? Yeah, it don't apply to you.
Cool.
Good.
That's right. That's what I thought.
That's what I thought. Exactly.
Players gonna play, lovers gonna love. I don't really want none of the above. I want to piss on you. Drip, 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 gonna piss on you, gonna piss on you.
There you go.
Oh shit.
That's what it is. So
really-
that's basically my take.
That's fucking mad, bro.
So really, in this context, the palace is entirely justified to have kicked Meghan Markle out of the family because, procedurally speaking, Harry was not meant to hire a coloured.
Why didn't they just come out and say that though, Johnny?
Yeah.
Look, it's in our policy.
Yeah, it's
I think you're taking that wrong.
It's actually it's actually HR procedure to
Meghan
not
said she-
marry the help.
Meghan said she didn't want to be a domestic servant. Of course she wasn't going to stay here. I mean,
That's the angle I was gonna go with.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
she's fine. It's just not
like,
front of house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, just
not front of house.
Megan, it's in the policy. I know you didn't Google anything about us before you married into
Very good.
fucking hell.
Very good.
Oh, you don't click the Guardian, but you click that, yeah.
That was,
I mean, I've got nothing to add to this. Fucking royal family bugging out as ever.
yeah. I mean, what do you expect from
Get rid of them.
from an institution that quite literally sanitized the colonization, murder, invasion, and exploitation of colored people?
Whatever, man.
It was always going to take them a while.
If
to
I
put them
can't
in the shop
abuse my
window.
power from time to time, I don't want the power.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Do we have a jingle yet for relationship advice? Do we have one? Because
So I suggested one the first time we did it.
No, you
and
suggested one being created.
And you guys...
What was it?
And it shouted me down.
What was
And
it?
I
he
suggested
suggested
the
one being-
creation
yeah,
of
the
a
creation of
jingle
one.
for what I foresaw
Yes.
as a regular segment.
Yes. If anyone wants to submit a jingle for us, we're open to suggestions.
Yes.
What would be a song that we could sing for relationship advice?
I'm just
Man,
thinking of-
fuck you, bitch. I don't want you back.
Yo, shout out Eamon. Drake before Drake.
Yeah,
right?
come on.
Well, who was the lady who gave him the
Frankie.
reply? Yes.
Frankie, fuck you right back.
Fuck you right back. Yes. Back-to-back number ones.
Bruv, I swear, early teens pop music, undefeated, fam. I'm not gonna lie, I was at a Supremo white middle class barbecue this weekend, and we were banging out the Kooks and the Fratellis. It was fucking lit, fam.
The what?
The Kooks.
Man. I know, she knows that I'm not fond of asking. True or false, it may be. She will out to get me. Funny fact, one of my ex-girlfriends is in that video.
No way.
Yeah.
Mazzoline.
Yeah. She was meant to be the main girl in that video, but then showed up on the day and they were like, nah, you're not hot enough. I always thought she was quite paying, but I don't know what happened when she showed up.
She might be listening, bro.
Yeah.
She might be
If
listening.
she's listening, I fucking hate you. Go fucking jump off the Melbourne Bridge, the closest bridge in Melbourne where you live, you fucking fuck.
Shit.
Fucking
Move on.
Fuck.
Move on.
relationship advice.
Yes.
From 3 unhurt males.
Yes. From 3 men with healthy relationships.
Now, this wasn't.
That was so out of pocket as
Now,
well.
Didn't see it
I
coming.
did not see that ended terribly.
married for 6 years,
Okay.
Okay.
dated for 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Back when things were normal, my husband was away from home often. Usually, when he would be home, I would dress up a lot and put in a lot of effort for him.
Okay. Very good.
This year, he has been home for the longest stretch of time in our marriage.
Okay.
At first, I was putting in a lot of effort, but then staying home constantly made me feel depressed. And I started going back to normal and wearing more comfortable clothing and no makeup.
Okay.
I didn't realize my husband had such an issue, but yesterday he randomly said I wasn't very ladylike at all.
Ooh.
And after I got upset, he graciously offered to hire someone to teach me how to be.
Cheese! My guy.
Today he tried to say he didn't mean it as an insult, and it didn't mean he didn't think I was beautiful, but it damn sure felt like one. I don't know if this is even relevant, but my husband always looks put together.
Yes.
And he's maintained that even in the pandemic. Sounds like me. I did make a traumatic change to my wardrobe when we got married, for him. So I think that's why I feel extra offended, sensitive right now. I told my friend what he said, and she told me to accept the offer and then force him to buy me all the new clothes. But I really don't want to. Does
my days.
anyone have any better suggestions?
I have
can
a suggestion.
Can I
Get new friends.
Yes. Can I just seeing this was thrown at me the first time we did this, but Tommy, can we play Guess the Race?
I'm liking that you like my ideas. So I'll guess first. Yeah.
the gumption to suggest that we hire someone.
It's
that is
very
such
mad.
mad chat.
It is very mad.
I think the gentleman in question, probably because of my own biases, because when Rich was telling the story, it rang home. There's a guy I know who's basically
Oh, shit.
similar to this, and he hails from our beloved continent.
Shit.
So,
Please, is it West? Please don't say West Africa.
oh no, I just meant the continent as a whole, just basically African.
Yeah, Nigerians catch too much heat these days, bro. I don't want to miss this one out.
Is he Nigerian?
He wasn't Nigerian.
Okay.
We're looking mad out here already. You know?
Yeah. Luckily, this guy wasn't. But this brother that we're talking about right now could easily be an African man. That's the thing.
Do you think his wife is also African, or do you think she's other?
Say it.
I'd go other.
Say it.
I'd go
I don't know what
other.
you're talking about.
Say it. Did this Ghanaian man marry a white girl? Is that what you're getting at?
Is she Caucasian?
I don't know if she's Caucasian, but she's not African.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what is she supposed to do? You know, she is.
To be more ladylike.
Sorry. Just can we just hear that thing one more time? There's two parts that I think I didn't quite clock onto. So he is willing to hire someone for what exactly?
To make her appear more ladylike.
Because
she has let the standards drop.
What does that mean though? That like a makeup artist or something, like a
Personal
stylist
shopper or some
a
shit. Yeah,
shopper.
stylist,
Yeah,
I imagine.
Apparently, when she stopped putting in effort, man, she started letting a few farts rip while they're sitting on the sofa watching fucking
What, it's a whole
Narcos.
elocution thing. It's not just an appearance.
Not keeping it sexy.
I'm just jumping to conclusions.
boy.
Second question I had then is later on she mentions changing her wardrobe.
Yeah.
So what was that part about? So she changed her wardrobe when they got married to like kind of fit in more with him or something.
No, she made a dramatic change to her wardrobe when they got married for him.
Okay.
So that's why she feels extra offended and sensitive right now.
But so what?
So she's
what's
already
that
adapted.
change look
She's already
like?
adapted to him, and now he wants more change from her.
Okay.
What's she
Well, I don't know
supposed
if he
to do?
wants more change. So she adapted and then reverted, it sounds like.
He wants to return to the glory days.
He wants to return to the glory days.
After 8 years of marriage, this guy's ambitious.
Yes.
Ambitious. 6 years of marriage.
Yeah, 6.
Yeah, sorry, it's 2 years of relationship.
yeah,
After 8 years of a relationship,
Yeah.
he's ambitious. He's like, you know,
It's the audacity
he is audacious.
of let me hire someone to make you more of a woman.
Can you imagine?
Oh boy. If it is, do you know what? If it is an African man, it can't be an African woman because he would have held a lick.
Definitely not.
He would have held a lick for that kind of chat there, surely.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or should have done it.
Oh my days.
One or the other.
Oh my days.
So if
Should have either slapped him or
kept it
repped
quiet.
it. Right? One or the other.
Oh,
so if
my
she was
days.
sat here and you placed your hand on her knee, looked her dead in the eyes and said, girl, this is what you need to do. What would you suggest?
I think it would be irresponsible to give advice without further information on this one.
Leave him, sis. Fuck that.
Because I don't understand,
Fuck
like,
that.
why is he moving? Like, there must
He's
be a
moving
reason
mad.
that he's
Is
moving this
there-
recklessly.
Is there a valid claim that one can make, even during a pandemic, that, babe,
Yeah.
your standards have dropped a
Slipping,
little bit. Here I
slipping.
am in the gym, home gym.
We don't know
Here
that.
I am eating all the celery.
We don't know that.
Here I am,
Home
you know,
food.
keeping it very. I'm using all the Aveeno. I'm using all of the fucking necessary
Keto.
oils. All of that shit, right? Meanwhile, you're here just like.
But we don't know that he's doing that.
Loose.
She said he's keeping himself
He's keeping
in
himself
good
together,
nick.
still
Okay.
looking fresh. Still, either way, he's moving mad. I think we've done well in the last 3 episodes in protecting the male species.
Yes.
I'm really trying here, guys.
From
Yeah.
unfair attacks.
Have you not noticed?
But this brother's
moving mad.
This brother's moving a little mad.
This guy's moving mad.
Unless she
why?
has really let herself.
But this, what if
Okay.
she has? What if she has, Thomas?
That's the thing. So I guess my guy is vocalizing something in the relationship that he is unhappy with.
Yeah.
But from what I can gather from the story,
Yes.
it's that she's
Click,
not.
click,
it's,
click.
it's not that. It's just that she's not dressing properly, or that she might be revealing the facade of what the perfect wife has been for the last 6 years. But like, fam, women fart in it. When you're watching Narcos, sometimes people have to let gas go. Like, I don't really understand how he can be so aggrieved that she's letting the mask down for him.
I know women who are married who have never fired in front of their husband.
Yeah,
What?
that's normal.
Mazzoline.
Are you serious?
Mazzoline.
It's normal.
Mazzoline.
You have to keep it sexy, bro.
You're not,
you have to
you're
keep
not,
it.
you're not allowed to, women don't fart. Letty's saying women don't fart.
And if they do it, it smells like flowers.
And if they do it, it smells like flowers.
But you have to keep it sexy. I think like I'm with you a little bit. Like all long-term relationships.
Wait, you're with me. What did I say?
Cheese.
Wait.
As in knowing relationships where
Toxic
people
Tommy.
don't fart in
Don't want
front
him
of
on side.
each other.
Okay.
So I've had long-term relationships where I've never farted in front of my
What?
partner.
That is mad chat.
You as a man,
Yeah, 100%.
you ain't done a fart.
No, not
That's-
Bruv, you better hold
slightings maybe, but not,
Fam,
but
that's-
not
that's-
like
that's marking-
ripping things.
Wait.
You have
He
to
just
keep
say
it
side
sexy a
things.
little
He
bit.
does.
Man just said side
Yeah,
things.
he just said side thing. That's
I
mad
didn't
chat.
say side thing. I
Yeah, you
said
said-
sliding.
Oh, no, the audience heard side things, and that's
No,
what
no.
I'm running with.
That's actually
what I'm running with.
That's-
you
Sliding.
you
That's-
toxic.
No.
That's actually what we're editing into the episode. Is that he said? But no, obviously you have to fart in front of your woman because that's marking territory, fam.
Bruv, yeah.
Fart in front of your woman. That might be.
You
that
fart
might
in front of
be-
your woman.
Market
That's,
territory.
that's
That might
my
be episode title.
It's my side of the sofa. Are you mad?
What's the title? Mark your territory.
Fart in front of your woman.
Nah, ban that. No, yeah. Especially if you've been
No, but
together.
also-
So look, like these man, once you get to 8 years and stuff, like I guess there has to be some element of sexiness still kept in the relationship, right? Otherwise, it starts to get a little.
Yeah.
Let's speak to someone who's actually, knows about long-term relationships and shit.
I mean, I fart like crazy. I don't give a fuck.
I think it's a staple of a healthy
I
relationship.
don't give a fuck. I'm farting. What you think? What am I holding that in for, bruv? Are you kidding me?
She farting in front of you as well. Farting on you and shit.
Come on.
Don't do
I
that.
feel
She's
I
not
feel-
here to defend herself.
Yeah, exactly. I feel
No,
like-
I'm not talking about your
It's very-
misses.
it's very
I'm talking
important.
about girls you've been with. Generally, like historically,
Has a
the
woman ever-
exes,
has a woman ever
just
farted
generally
in front
women
of you,
farting
Rich?
around you is normal?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't-
when you're in a long-term relationship, I mean,
I don't really mind. Like, is it a wet one? Is it a dry one? Is it a long
This is
one? Is it
mad
a short
chat.
one? Like, it depends.
discussion points.
It depends how you carry it. Like if you're just like
Or how you carry
if
the
you,
fart.
If you like raise your leg up and you're like you try to play fucking trumpets with your ass,
Yeah.
then I'm like, that's not sexy, babe. But
Like,
you're
that
just
might be more
"Oh,
sexy."
sorry,"
That's all
that just
chest.
pops out. I'd be like, oh, that's cute.
I'm kind of into it, to be honest. If you've got the audacity to raise your leg and trump one out right in front of me, that's hot.
Some
That's
people,
all chest.
that's hot to you.
That's hot.
that's chest.
That's hot, bitch.
That's
Do
what I
that
was
again.
saying. It's chest.
Do that again.
It's chest. Because if she's gonna fart, she might as well fart with her chest.
Come 10-10, innit? In for a penny, in for a pound.
Exactly.
Let me see it.
Don't fart around me though.
So what do we
You guys
suggest?
have a point, though. He said he hasn't been at home for long, and now he's at home.
Yeah.
Maybe he finally saw her, and she's actually not that.
Shit. So you reckon he's had an epiphany that she ain't really a 10?
Oh my days.
Holy shit, dog.
What are you saying? He got swimming pool faced.
Wow.
Nah, I don't know. I don't know if I
did.
agree with all of that. What I do know is if we're shooting people bail, what I do know is that my Don knows how to maintain a healthy relationship.
By keeping himself.
No, but not only by keeping himself fresh, but also like oftentimes you see these kind of issues not being vocalized, right?
Tommy.
And I think in a healthy relationship, open dialogue is important. And
Even if open dialogue is, I am going to offer to hire someone to teach you how to be.
I'm sure that's not how he phrased it.
Oh my days.
That's just how she heard it.
Oh my days.
And I'm sure that's what he meant. I'm sure. I'm sure.
I thought he wasn't shooting bail for the man.
I'm
Nah,
sure
no,
that's
he is.
no, but I'm
He-
saying
he
I'm sure
is.
that's what she meant as well. Like that's what he meant. She heard it correctly. I'm
Yeah.
sure. But regardless, I think it's a grown-up approach to. He's seen something that he doesn't like. He's like, listen, babe, this doesn't. It's not looking. What's going on? Do you need a hand or something? And she's like,
What? But
She's
isn't
like,
this-
nah, shut up, bruv. Everything's fine. And then she starts like maybe looking like she used to look in terms of dressing up or whatever. Then he's haps. If she's not haps, then she has to then vocalize that. Be like, listen, bro, I'm not looking to dress up every day if we're in COVID, rah. And then they'll come to some conclusion. But the solution is conversation. It's dialogue.
Yes.
It's
a pretty
openness.
Pretty unrealistic, awkward expectation to have of someone
From whom?
in a pandemic. Him.
Yeah, of course.
To expect her to look 10-10 even when she's wearing like champion jogging bottoms with holes in them. It's a bit
Some
tough
people
on
can
her.
10-10.
Yeah,
in
like
that
me.
get-up.
Yeah.
Women fart on your man. That's what's up. That's my contribution to
On
this
your
segment.
man.
On
It's-
your man.
To establish dominance.
No,
Yeah.
don't fart on
Establish
me.
dominance.
Yeah, to mark your territory.
Don't fart on me.
Fart on him and other things won't draw your man.
You man are the ones that want to be farted around. No one's fighting
fart.
around me.
Don't fart on me.
No one's fighting around
You can
me.
fart,
Yeah.
but don't fart on me.
But near you.
So she should leave him, basically.
Sis, you need to leave this
They're
toxic
married,
guy.
though.
My answer
Leave
to this
him.
is dialogue. Just chat. If you're not
No,
if you're not
divorce.
looking to get dressed up and shit.
Divorce over
he's-
dialogue.
If he's moving reckless, tell him he's moving reckless.
No.
He thought you were moving reckless. He told you.
Just leave.
Tell him.
Just leave.
That's
Divorce.
reckless chat.
I thought Johnny was like notoriously like quite anti-divorce in these situations.
Johnny has
I
no.
thought he was-
why do you feel like I'm
relationship?
anti-divorce?
because I just feel like in other relationship advice, you're always just like, oh, you know, you should.
He has no respect for the institution of marriage.
You really don't. You didn't clap for Boris, and now you're talking about divorce. What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
bro? Like, come on.
to be fair, it's not my fault. I had 3 stepmoms. Like, I had a bad example set to me.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We had divorce parties when I was growing up.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
No, that's a joke.
That's the thing now. Divorce parties are actually a thing.
They really are.
So I don't know if you know, but
Are you serious?
of the last 2-3 years, because of I don't know, social media or whatever, I guess it's more an individualistic culture
Okay.
that we're all living in.
Yes.
That divorce parties are actually a
No
thing
way.
now.
Well, you
Yeah.
ran up the mandem saying I got
You
rid.
might as well. What? If you're Melinda Gates and you're just taking 50 bill, you're not going to throw a shubs.
Okay, that's
Calm now.
that's standard procedure.
50
throwing the
billion, I'm
shubs.
throwing the maddest shubs. Calm.
So I'm putting one of the 50 into the shubs.
Magic Mike, Triple XL everywhere. Channing Tatum.
So every one of the
Bro,
girls get that
if you're
own Hollywood actor.
Yeah, if you're Melinda, do you know what I mean? Yeah, she'll probably bring in like Robert Redford and
like-
fucking Richard Gere and
Pharrell.
You know what I mean? Yeah, Pharrell's old, so
Man,
yeah, that
Richard.
worked. Yeah.
Richard Gere.
Yeah, so
Every 80-year-old's heartthrob.
Yes.
to the lady going through this, or any other ladies going through this situation, look,
Leave him and find someone else to fart on.
yeah, I feel you, man.
That's what's up.
Yo, I don't know if we want to become the relationship guys.
Yeah, no, I do. I feel like it's a responsibility I'm ready to take on. I feel like I give quite balanced advice, and it's
ever.
well received.
As ever, keep sending your dilemmas and scenarios through.
All right. Something new, yeah?
Tell me, what
Okay,
you got
something
for us?
new.
What you got
All
for
right,
us?
all right. So we're gonna try something new. It might reoccur like this relationship segment. It might disappear into the ether forever. But so when we're putting this thing together, sometimes there are news stories that we don't have an opportunity to cover.
Okay.
But they should be touched upon ever so slightly.
Yes.
Plus, we are more competitive than the average. So I thought we can marry these two into a little quiz.
Okay.
All right. So we've got a little quiz here, boys.
Terrible at quizzes, man.
I'm the fucking king. Let's go.
Are you a pub quiz don?
I'm pub quiz king.
Don't worry. This is the kind of quiz that's in your favor.
I hate you people.
Because it's not a pub quizzy kind
Oh,
of thing.
what?
Wonderful. I'm back in the game.
So
I'm
there are
back in the
5
game.
questions. Nice and easy. 5 questions.
What's the prize for winning?
Each-
Sorry, because we're not doing this for fun. I want to crush you.
No. There's a competitive element to it because ultimately we're going to keep score over various episodes if this carries on.
Okay.
Oh.
And then we'll build this up to something if it carries on. Otherwise, it disappears into ether, and one of your victories will never be spoken of ever again.
No, it will last forever. That's the
If this
thing.
sounds shit, I edit.
Exactly.
Yes.
So listen, 5 questions.
I'm gonna edit it so I win anyway.
This is, yeah.
How you like
I
that
win.
one?
I win anyway. That's a Denzel line.
Yes.
I can't lose.
Ain't got shit on me.
So, all right, boys, listen up. Yeah, there's 5 questions.
Okay, let's go.
The answer to each of the questions is a number. At the end of the 5 questions, you have to sum these numbers up
Okay.
and give me one number at the end. That is your answer.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Interesting.
So we're summing up the correct answers.
Exactly.
Bets.
Nice and easy.
Bets.
Now, when I read the answer, resist the temptation. Or when I read the question, resist the temptation to shout out an answer.
All right, bet.
All right. We're gonna start really easy.
All right.
So this week, an expanded England Euro squad was announced for
Bet.
Euro 2021.
Yes, it was.
How many squad players were the managers allowed to select? Right. So deep that in your mind, whatever number that is, think of that number, and then I'm going to ask a second question
Okay.
and add the answer of the second question to whatever answer you have in front of you.
Sure.
Question number 2. This week, obviously, the UK government added and took away countries to the travel list. Combined, what are the number of countries that were added to the green list and the red list for the UK?
Oh, that's a shitty one.
That's
All
a
right.
shitty one.
So how many countries were added to both lists?
We're ready.
Right? On to question number 3. How many US states have banned transgender girls and women from participating in secondary education sports teams?
I don't
This,
know.
specifically this year.
I don't know, man.
Right? So there's you know how many states there are. So
Man, this is perfect for Twitter, man, them, innit?
let's just add to that.
Hello.
Add to that. Question number 4. NASA plan to return to Venus this year.
Okay.
When did they go first time?
By 2030. They plan to return by 2030. But how many missions are they planning between now and then?
Bruv, I didn't know they had one.
You should pay attention to the news.
Yes.
Venus, are you kidding me?
Venus big
How
things.
many missions
are they planning?
in total or to Venus?
To Venus by 2030 are they planning?
How many missions to Venus
By 2030.
are they planning?
Are
I
they
mean, you
planning?
must lose points for fucking having to repeat the question that many times.
It's
to
true,
this fucking
it's true.
You must lose
idiot over
points
here.
for not knowing the answer. Shut the fuck up.
Fair.
All right.
I'm
All right.
getting
You
this
guys
spot.
doing good so far? We need more sportsmanship here.
Doing good?
Final question.
This is not a friendly.
I've kind of shoehorned this question in. It doesn't fit in the same kind of way, but I like the story. You ready?
I'm ready.
The daughter-in-law of the former Conservative Party treasurer, Lord Ashcroft, has been charged in Belize with manslaughter by negligence over the shooting to death of a police superintendent. Lord Ashcroft, worth a stunning $2.1 billion.
Let me a fiver.
Get it? You know, we should give him like some.
Yeah,
I mean, how did he get it though?
Jeez,
Was it on the back and appropriation of black people?
Well, yeah,
I think,
worth
kind
a
of, I
stunning.
think there has to be some appropriation.
Yeah, all right, so
Yeah,
I'm
to get a billion.
I'm gonna unclick my clicks.
Okay.
Yeah.
2.1 billion was subject to a political storm. So that's when we all got to know him. When he confirmed that he was a non-dom, right? So meaning that his permanent home was not in the UK and therefore did not have to pay taxes, right? That's when he shot to fame. His new home is, of course, Belize.
Yes.
With a small nation on the eastern coast of Central America with a population of just under 400,000 people.
Isn't he dead now?
No, he's still alive. So this is the statement, right?
Lord Ashcroft didn't
So
he die?
now, this is, just listen.
He's trying to put me off.
Yeah.
This
Just
month.
listen.
Shut
This is
up,
important.
Johnny.
Now answer
He dead.
with a +1 to your numbers so far if you believe the following statement is true, and take 1 away from your answer if you believe the following statement is false.
Okay.
Lord Ashcroft's net worth is higher than the GDP of Belize. So add 1 to your answer if you think that's true, and take 1 away if you think that statement is false. All right. You guys got answers?
Yes.
You both written them down?
Yes.
I don't want
Yeah.
any cheating, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, who wants to say their answer out loud?
We should-
Johnny,
we
show
should
me
show
your
it-
phone.
we should show each
No,
other.
Show me your phone.
I just have the number because I use the calculator.
Boom, what's your number?
36.
What's your number?
You can't even do the quick maths.
You can't do the quick math.
You can't even do the quick
33 plus 30
33.
and 36, yeah? Who's got 36?
Me.
You are the winner. You are
no way.
the winner.
Did I get 36 on the dot?
Nah, the answer's 44.
Oh.
But you're closest. You're closest,
Oh,
right?
shit.
So let's wrap it up.
Yes.
And I'll give you some answers here, yeah?
Generation X, suck it. Generation X.
Especially after the heat he was throwing in your direction.
This must be some
Johnny's
affirmative.
taking a strong L.
This must be some affirmative action bullshit. Where like you people just looking after each other.
That's what
Get
losers say.
Get in where you fit in, baby.
All right, you ready, yeah? So, question number 1. England manager Gareth Southgate has named 26 players.
Yes, obviously.
Right, so that's expanded from the 23.
Okay.
Second question, no country was added to the green list, and 7 were added to the red list.
Oh, I went for 3 in total.
Right? So,
5.
0 on the green, Afghanistan, Bahrain, Costa Rica, Egypt, Sri Lanka, Sudan, and Trinidad and Tobago
That's not true.
have all added to the red
You're wrong
list.
because North Korea was also very sadly added to the red list this week.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. So, question number 3.
Well, I am. So
No, I don't know if that's true, though.
yeah, I saw it on Twitter. So
Oh,
it must
yeah,
be true.
So it must be true. So, question number 3. Florida became the 8th state this year.
I think I put 5.
5's not a
I
bad
put
guess.
1. I put 1.
Yeah, it became the 8th state this year to ban transgender girls and women in public secondary schools and colleges from participating in girls and women's sports after the Republican governor signed a restrictive
He's a
measure
waste,
into
man.
law. Question number 4. NASA has announced that it's sending 2 new missions to Venus
I got that right.
in order to examine the planet's atmosphere and geological features. The missions, which have been each awarded $500 million, It's not a small amount of money. And funding are due to launch in 2028 and 2030. To answer your original question, NASA Administrator Bill Nelson said the mission would offer the first chance to investigate the planet that we haven't been to in more than 30 years. So it's been time since
I
we
didn't know
reached.
they'd been Venus. What can I say, bro? You know what I mean? I thought it was life on Mars. I didn't think it was fucking life on Venus.
Yeah.
The fuck.
And finally, the question about Lord Ashcroft, whose net worth is 2.1 billion. The GDP of Belize
That's
is
got to be wrong.
1.8 billion.
I got that right. I said
So
more.
the
But you still
statement
lost,
is true.
Johnny. So you still lost. So why are you telling me this? You still lost.
Congratulations, Mr. Abiadi, our inaugural winner of the T-Set Quiz of the Fortnight.
I've been telling them. I've been telling them I'm more than just a pretty face. You feel me? I've been telling them.
Johnny
I've been
didn't buy
telling
it.
them from time.
Yeah, I might just leave.
Take
we-
the L like a champ, Johnny.
Can we just end this episode now?
No,
please?
but for real.
Revise.
No,
for next
we will.
fortnight.
We're gonna end this
Study.
episode now by shouting out everyone. That's what we. That's how we start, and that's how we like to finish.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to send a specific shout out
Okay.
to Italian artist Salvatore Garu,
Yes.
aka Mr. Fleecing all of you, man.
Yes.
The sculptor who auctioned an invisible sculpture
That's right.
for 15,000 euros.
That's right.
The king has no clothes.
Yes, that's right. Signore, get the bag.
Get out the bag.
Yes.
He's actually from Milan. It's quite a common name up there.
Yes, yes.
Yes, this is one of the greatest finesses of all time.
The sculpture must be displayed in a private home, free from any obstruction,
Correct.
Protect your
in an
energy.
area that is about 5 foot long by 5 foot wide.
Correct.
Protect your energy.
Because
Yes.
the piece does not exist, there are no special lighting or climate requirements.
Protect your energy.
Multiple outlets report that the only tangible item the buyer will receive is a certificate of authentication that is both signed and stamped by Garu.
Oh, so he gets the guy's signature for 15 grand. He's underpaid.
Well, shit, it's a bargain. You
So-
didn't say that before.
Apparently, all we need to do is get these kids out of Hyde Park and just making invisible sculptures. Ladies and gentlemen, This Could End Terribly, episode 18.
Beep, 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 beep.